Put down the hammer, and pick up the pencil. You're about to listen to the Savvy Radio Show, yeah. Real estate info galore, so listen up, don't miss it. Hosted by the Savvy Landlord,
Well, welcome Monday morning. What up? This is your friend Steve Van Kalmberg, the Savvy Landlord, and you just turned into the Savvy Radio Show. Hopefully you had a wonderful Easter. And I'm about to say this, you better went to church. You should still go to church. You have an opportunity to go this week. So hopefully you had a great Easter. Anyway, today, yep, that's right. I say that every time. It's a bad habit. But today we're talking about a checklist in general, purchasing process checklist. So I did a checklist a while back, a couple of months ago, on how to move in a new tenant. And I got a lot of great feedback from that. And so today I'm going to cover how I purchase property. This is a sheet, aka checklist, that I put together just to spark my mind of what I need to do next, information that I need to record, stuff that I can pass on. Ultimately, this was created to pass on to my accountant so they don't ask me this information a couple of months, 6 months, 8 months later. So why our checklist? So this is the basis of soon to be episodes over checklists, things that I put together to make my life easier. So why are checklists so important? Making checklists can seem tedious, aka boring, but the practice can save your business by improving efficiency and minimizing mistakes. That's right. It saves you time. You don't have to think about it. You know, I've been DJing for years. I don't DJ any longer, but if I didn't have a checklist, I'd always forget something. And you're just emotional when you're doing whatever you're doing and you're forgetting things. A call comes in and, you know, I'm having some senior moments already at 40. I was looking for my glasses the other day and they were on my head. Typical, what's going on? Well, that's just life in general. You're just busy and you need to have a checklist to get the ball rolling. A couple of other reasons why I love checklists. Another one, it's a paper trail showing accountability and where you're at in the project. Like I have one for evictions. And did I serve that girl on time? What day did I serve that individual or guy? Another awesome reason, and this is what you should be thinking the whole time, is that you can delegate more easily. Yep. You just hand somebody a checklist. I just did Investor Weekend, created that. It's not an easy event, but it was awesome to have someone on my team. I just hand him a checklist and he went line by line what needed to be done. Isn't that cool? Checklists work. Even the Harvard Business School did some research and published articles on the subject. Google it up and you can find it. So if you like this, now you got to figure this out. I'm about to go over a checklist with you without the actual physical paper. Okay. So this is going to be hard. So you got to have to open your mind, and it's a blank piece of paper. And I'm just going to go over all these points that I have on here. Okay. So it's going to be interesting. But if this benefits you at all, okay, if I go over this checklist, you're like, wow, I need that checklist, because that happens. Okay. There's books that I have purchased just because they have a checklist in there. Isn't that savvy? I need to put a checklist in my, actually I do. In the back of the red book that I've written a while back has several checklists in there. But if you want to connect in some form or fashion, that's right. I'm reaching out to you right now. We can trade. So I can give you my buyer's purchasing process checklist, and you can trade out and give me something, and we can grow. Sow seeds together, plant and grow. So this document that I created, I don't know, document, whatever, pieces of paper, checklist, whatever you little think it could be. I call it buying, purchasing. And what happened was this was birthed out of when I kind of passed the company on to a general manager that runs the day-to-day operation, and we may do a new acquisition, and she doesn't know where it came from or What are we going to do next? Have we turned this information into the accountant? And so it's kind of like a timeline per se. So right on it, I have a big bold purchasing process, buying checklist. These are all the elements that go into purchasing a property. Obviously, you need to have an address, contract date, when it was signed. I also have a checkbox that says source of the deal. Where did it come from? And am I paying for that deal, like AKA a wholesaler or a bird dog or someone that helped me get that deal? You need to reward that person in some form or fashion. I have a rule that if someone throws me a deal at all, I try not only just to profusely thank them, but I think you should also go in and give them $500 of a reward. Is there purchases? Is there before pictures? Is there online pictures? Zillow, MLS. That's a great another source to snag pictures down. If you purchase a property, which is what I've done recently, that was on the MLS at one time, and they had some really good photos, and that just saves me a step when I convert that over into a rental. I have a checkbox that I submit the offer. Was there a counter offer received? How much is the contract price? What are the taxes? All these are just variables that I need to make a sound decision in the process. So that's just the first top, and then I have a thin line going through that. The second, paragraph or section, when is an inspection date? How old is the roof? Did I check the roof with electrical? When did I check the electrical? What's the ampage? 100 amp, 200 amp. What's the air system? Is it gas? Is it electric? What year was it built? Square footed. It is early. Bed, bath, car. How many bath? How many bed? How many car? Exterior. Is it brick? Is it frame? What's the foundation like? Is it sub or concrete? So that's section number 2. I'm still maybe not even a quarter of the page down. Okay, so then I have my financing aspect of this purchase. How am I going to do it? Is this going to be a private loan, creative deal? Did I fill out the loan application? What is the appraised amount? What's the terms? Is it a 15-year? What's going on with the interest rate? Interest rates are going up right now. I can document this. Also, one thing I didn't put up on here is the date of when I started this document. Did I request an appraisal? How much was the loan amount? What's the appraisal amount? Is it a fixed loan? Am I going to go short term? What's the amortization? Is it a 15-year, 20-year loan? When does it start? When does it end? What date did I get the appraisal? And if I did get this loan, say I use a basic bank that I use for acquisition, I write that bank down. If I have my loan docs, like after closing, I go back and fill in the loan number. And the cool thing about this document is that I have a quick access to all the details I need. Now, you should take this information and put it in a spreadsheet when you're done, usually because there's just different systems that I have, but I do that. Then, after I get that done, so I start that process. After I close, I fill it in. The next section would be insurance. Did I request an insurance quote? Now, I have an amazing insurance agent right now, so I just already in a kind of a blanket policy, if you will. But back in the day, I would still do quotes. If you have insurance, you should have insurance. Every 3 years, it's a rule of thumb. You should get insurance quotes. Yep, because Shelter is competitive, Allstate is competitive, American Modern, and MDOW not necessarily. But I create I craft one email, and I send it to those specific agents getting the amounts that I need. So that's the premium, how much, by who, the company, deductible, $1,000 deductible, maybe even a little bit higher. And then also I have on the sheet insurance policy number, my coverage limit, how much. Did I fax it or email it to the bank? There's a checkbox for that. That happens all the time with real estate investors. First of all, bank tip number 30,000. Don't let the bank ask for information. Try to get them the information before they ask for it. What do you mean? Well, if they're asking for your taxes, already have them ready. If you need to file an extension, send them an extension receipt. Don't have the bank ask you for information. You give them the basics, not all the details that necessarily from managerial, golly, it's effing early. But accounting, I don't give them all that details. I just give them what I know. I know they're going to need my financial statement. I know when I purchase a property that they're going to need the insurance. They need the insurance for their file. The next section, this is pretty the big one near the end. I got 2 more sections to cover. This one is the closing location. Where am I closing? This is another debacle. You know, realtors change things, sellers change things, buyers change things, life happens. So write down closing. Who's the closer? What's the closing date? What's the time? I know it's so obvious, but you got to do it. Did you receive the HUD? How much is the HUD? How much do you need to bring to the HUD? Are you receiving any proceeds from the purchase or sale, aka no money down? Also, the cashier's check number. I put that on there. I don't know why I put that on there, but I'm assuming if I lose the cashier's check for some odd reason, or if I need to track it. This has happened to me before. This is why this is on here. An accountant or a banker or your general manager or somewhere, this information will come up in a need. You will need this information. There might be a check for X amount of money, say $16,000, and it does not have an address on there. At least you have a general idea that cashier's check number 141321 relates to this property. All right, after I close this bad boy, you scan all the docs. Usually when you're closing, ask people to give you the docs already scanned, aka email them to you. Yes. You should upload them to your Google Drive. You should put them into your Evernote. Upload those docs. Excuse me, burping, my bad. Email your accountant. As soon as I get the closing docs, I forward them. I also add them to my timeline, like where have I been in 2005, where I am in 2017, how far I've grown. It's just a cool thing. Just the other day I had lunch with someone, and they're like, hey, when you came to this bank, how many units did you have? I just said, hold on, I have a timeline. Then I write down again my loan number again, just in case things have changed. I double check that. I add all of this information into my Excel sheet. This Excel sheet is, I would believe, one of the most important things that you need to have. We call it here at this office the master property portfolio sheet. Bankers call it a portfolio sheet or Excel, whatever. But this is a massive spreadsheet, Excel, Google Drive, sheets of all the information that you would ever need to know about the property at a quick glance. So all this quick data goes into that information. You add this information. The final step on this checklist for this section is add the property to Buildium. Okay, so we got all that information. Let's recap. You got the address. You got your banking information. You got your insurance information. You got your closing information. All the details you would need to know from purchasing the property. Also, it should be kind of fun, like school. Like, ooh, you're filling in the blanks, and you want to get them done, and you want to do it right, and you're going to need all this information. And the final, which is almost quarter of this page, pretty fascinating, is renting information. Rental. Yep, that's right. Buy and hold. That's what you need to be doing. I have the tenant information, the person's phone number, how many people are occupying the property, do they have pets, keys. I get this information. I used to buy a lot of property with someone already in there. Are they on Section 8? When did their lease start? When did it end? What's their deposit amount? This, you should ask these questions before closing. I actually email this information to the title company before we close that I need all this information before I sign on the dotted line. One, saves you so much time in the future. You don't want to go back after someone sells a property. They're not real too keen in helping you. They got their money. They bounce out. See ya. Then if you get this information, then you know if you need rent credit on the day of closing, and you should get rent credit. Bing, bing. After I got this information and I close, I have a check here that says send tenant new property management letter. What that is, hey, welcome to the party. This is your friend, Mr. Landlord here, and we took over your property, all your rents, requests, everything you need, you contact us. This is how so you should send them a new owner letter. Did you add the property in the buildium? And I have that on here twice, but now I need to add the information on there. Then I just double check it again. Did I create a tenant file? Did I change their locks? What's their lock code? I use landlord locks. Did I contact Section 8? Did I start that process? Usually takes about 10 days to get that information switched over. It's not that hard or difficult, but it does take some time. Did I need to create a work order? You can create that work order in Buildium. Is there any repairs that I need to get done? Usually. Then I kind of work my math. What's my cash flow on this property? Has it been worth my time? And then I don't do this any longer, but I used to have a hard file of everything back in the Dizzle, which was address, closing. And then for Savvy, I record the deal, how I got it by audio, just in case we ever need to write a book or something if somebody's ever interested. Anyway, hopefully this checklist or new purchasing process has encouraged you in some famless fabulous. I am tired. Anyway, it's been a long run recently. Hopefully this has inspired you, helped you. If, again, let me reiterate, if this is something that you would like to get your little grubby little hands on, I'm down to hook it up, but we got to trade out, increase each other. That's what we're going to do. This is Steven Van Kalmberg. I am the Savvy Landlord. I do cover this in my Red Book, the first book that was published in 2012. You can find that on my website, thesavvyradioshow.com. Or you can go to Amazon, and I would appreciate a review as well. Hopefully you got something out of this. Have a great Whizzle week.
Thanks for listening to The Savvy Radio Show. Glide online and listen to our other motivating episodes at SavvyRadioShow.com. Connect on Twitter at LandlordBook, and always be buying assets.